Hello friends, let's talk Alzheimer's genetic risk, a terrifying subject which I would like to approach from a place of optimism and empowerment. If you have a parent who developed Alzheimer's, you must have wondered, just like I did, whether you are at risk of developing the disease yourself. According to statistics, having inherited one copy of the so-called Alzheimer's gene, ApoE4, translates into an approximately 30% risk of getting the disease, while having inherited two copies of the ApoE4 translates into a risk as high as 91%. And I remember when I first read these statistics, my mind was absolutely paralyzed with panic and despair, and it just felt like I got a death sentence. It felt so irreversible, and it felt so certain. But then I started researching epigenetics, and I understood that our genes do not dictate our future or our destiny. We are not at the mercy or mere victims of our genetic inheritance. It is the environment that dictates whether a certain gene will be activated or not. And this is what I learned by studying epigenetics. The ApoE4 gene, known as the Alzheimer's gene, in very simple terms is a pro-inflammatory gene, which was very useful for our ancestors who were hunters or gatherers and required a very strong inflammatory response to fight infections from various wounds. Obviously, today we have evolved past our need for the ApoE4 gene, and this explains why only approximately 25 to 35% of the worldwide population are still carriers of the ApoE4 gene. If you are thinking whether you should be getting the genetic test for ApoE4, I believe that there are pros and cons for this decision that I would like to share with you. The main pro for getting the test is that learning that we are ApoE4 positive can represent a very strong incentive to prevent Alzheimer's, to incorporate the lifestyle changes required in order to prevent neurodegeneration. And this requires a very strong commitment and in many cases quite a change in our daily habits and routines. The main con for getting the genetic test is that even if we learn that we are ApoE4 negative, so the test comes back negative, this does not mean that there is no risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. According to statistics, only 50% of all Alzheimer's patients are carriers of the ApoE4 gene, which shows that Alzheimer's is not a genetic disease. Another con for getting the genetic test is that having a positive ApoE4 status may, in some countries, significantly increase the cost for medical insurance. However, this is a very personal decision. What I would like to offer is that we need to consider managing the stress, the anxiety that may follow after receiving a positive result. We really need to think this through in a very careful manner and have a plan if the test comes back positive to really start researching Alzheimer's prevention, to have a positive mindset, because disease feeds on fear. And this is what I learned. This is what my experience has been so far, that we cannot approach disease from a place of fear. We need to approach our risk of getting various diseases, not just Alzheimer's, from a place of optimism and of empowerment. And I'm so grateful that we have today so much information about how our genes are really working, and we understand that actually we have the power to influence our destiny. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.